So, playing sectors this time around, and what it means is that you divide the board into 4 squares and you set up in opposite squares. So in this one I think I was going to be to the right and bottom right, and Andy to the top left. So the idea is to get your troops into your opponent's starting position, and they scored 2 points, and there's 1 point for having a troop in one of the other sectors, nothing in your own sector. And then what happens is that you score points for killing units. The only trouble is you can't set your troops up within 12 inches of the centre. So it does mean that within the game you're a bit limited with space when you're setting your troops up, and certainly dependent upon the terrain as to where you're going to put them. If you're going to try and get into the other sectors, you obviously need to try and protect your own area to stop the opponent getting their 2-point troops in. But you also need to get your troops into the 2-point areas as well, and it's always useful to grab a little one. So the sort of theory is to try and kill opponents, try and stop them getting into your area and get into theirs, and that's easier said than done. And I really struggle with the strategy on this one as to how to go about it. But we'll see how we go, and let's get on with what the armies are. So we're taking a matched armies really, and Andy's bringing his Japanese, and I'm running with my US Marines. So let's have a look at Andy's army first, and he'll go through it with what he's got. So let's start with Andy. Okay, take it away.
Okay, Japanese army for today. Got a veteran second lieutenant and his mate, both with SMGs. I've got 2 regular infantry squads, NCO with rifle, 1 LMG, 8 rifles in each. 1 veteran squad, NCO with rifle, LMG, 8 rifles. 1 veteran squad, NCO with rifle, 1 LMG, 7 rifles. I've got 3 kamikaze tank hunters, 1 with a lunge mine, or I've modelled him with a lunge mine, 1 with a grenade, satchels, explosives, and a jerry can of kerosene on his back. And this one's got a mine in his hand and a load of pouches full of explosives. A heavy mortar with spotter.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to use. It's actually a Italian tank which has been played with a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's a Type 92 tankette, turret mounted MMG, and a hull mounted heavy machine gun. And a Horo. And a Horo.
Which is a 150.
Which is the heavy howitzer.
Yeah, heavy howitzer.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So a bit of heavy hitting power in the backfield. Yeah. So to take on Andy's Japanese, I'm running with my US Marines, and what I've got is 1 single platoon. I've got, as you can see there, 1, 2, 3, 4 units of regular Marines, and they have within them 2 units have got 2 bars and 2 units have got 3 bars. And the rest is rifles, and the NCO's got a submachine gun. I've got 1 unit of veteran engineers. They've got 2 bars, and I think in this one I put in, I put in the flamethrower. I then went for a jeep with heavy machine gun, and I went for a second lieutenant. I went for a sniper, and I went for a unit of war dogs, so two men with submachine guns and 2 war dogs, a medium mortar, and then I went with the 105 Sherman howitzer, because that's always fun with the medium howitzer, and I went for the truck. I don't think I had enough points to put an MMG on it, So that was my army for this battle. Not played the Marines for a bit of a while. So interesting to see how they run out. Oh yeah, and I forgot that the men with bars I gave pistols to, so that gives them another attack if they get a hit or get to wound in hand to hand. So that was a useful little addition on to them. So just like tough fighters. Forgot to mention that in sectors there is a preliminary bombardment for both sides. So once you've decided what units are going to go on, I think you can have up to half on and half off. And as you can see, the dice on my picture, these are the ones I decided to have in reserve. So that was my Jeep, the engineers, the truck, and the Sherman tank. So those were going to be off board, so the rest were going to be subject to the prelim bombardment. So let's see how that worked out. So sectors, starts off with preliminary bombardment for each side. So we've gone through for Andy's, and he's got 2 for this squad here. Got a direct hit on one of the anti-tank men and blew him up, so that was quite good. Mortar got 1 pin marker. Horo sadly only got 1 pin marker. The other Japanese squad there, 1 pin marker. Another pin marker for the anti-tank man, and another one over there, and nothing on the spotter. So Andy was quite lucky on that. Fairly ineffective. We bring it back over to here. So, oh, did you actually roll for that?
I didn't roll for the sniper.
Didn't roll for the sniper. Roll for the sniper, quick. Nothing, so that's okay. So over to this side, the officer team got 2 pins. The mortar team got a direct hit and lost 1 man. Squad here has got 1 pin, 2 pins on the dog team, 2 pins on the infantry squad in the middle there, and 2 pins on the mortar man, mortar spotter, but no pins on the unit. So fairly good for me, so fairly ineffectual really, but there's a couple of units there who've got 2, so that'll be a decision whether we try to move them or they will take a rally. So let's move into turn 1. End of turn, well that's out of focus, out of turn 1, and we've got a little bit of goings on. Japanese are moving over to the right, and the mortar spotter did actually do a diddle job, and the mortar did fire at the sniper, but fortunately didn't hit, but it'll be a 5 to hit next turn. Not good starting for the Americans. They tried to move a couple of units and they went down, didn't pass the leadership test. The officer, which was a bit of a pain, tried to get him to move and he went down. And then the Horo at the far side failed its test as well, so reversed back. That was a bit of a shame for it. The only sort of firing that I've had is a sniper has put 1 extra pin on the far side, and Andy with his long light machine gun shot put a pin on this unit and killed 1 man. So not too much happening in the first turn, but a little bit of first blood to make up for his anti-tank man being blown up on the preliminary bombardment. So into turn 2. End of turn 2, and I think the honours will have to go to Andy and his Japanese. He took a few off the 3 off this squad here with the shooting of his little tank with the MMG and the HMG. The unit over here got 2 pins on them from the firing from the units over on that side. Yeah, and we lost 2 men from here, and no, a man from here, and killed in action for the NCO, so that was a bit harsh. My firing back has been pretty ineffectual. The Jeep came on with its heavy machine gun, missed, didn't put, well no, yeah, hit, but didn't put any damage. I didn't even hit, did it? No, didn't hit. And that was the same with the Sherman over here. Took a shot at the squad which Andy had rallied, but nothing on that. But we did get a pin with the machine guns, did we?
Yeah, pin with the machine gun.
Yeah, pin with the machine gun and a pin with a sniper. So yeah. two pins back onto them. The mortar is still lined up on them, and I need a 5 to hit on that. But Andy's mortar needs a 4 to hit my sniper. I took a risk by not moving him, and I moved 1 unit up into here, and that unit failed and went down. So yeah, I think yeah, Andy's in the ascendancy for this end of turn 2. So into turn 3, and we'll see what comes next. Firing at the tank with the Jeep, with the HMG, I only needed 4s. You only need 4s, and what did I roll? 3 1s. 3 1s. No hits. End of turn 3, and the fight is well on now. So we've advanced up the Americans with the truck, debussed the engineers, and they've run off up to the ruins. The little tank did some shots on the Jeep, only put a pin on it, which was quite fortunate for me. The Horo in the woods, came up to the woods and then took a shot at the Sherman, but missed, fortunately, and likewise I missed the Horo with the Sherman as well, so just a little slaps each there. This unit went down, which was quite lucky, failed the leadership test and went down, which was lucky for Andy, because it meant that it was too difficult to shoot them. Bit of dizziness over there. In the centre, the Marine squads have come up and put some shots on the unit over there, and they went down, but still got a kill and a pin. My Marines advanced up on this side and put a shot on the mortar team observer, but couldn't kill him, which was a bit of a shame, because that would have left his mortar behind the woods and they wouldn't have been seeing anything. Final Japanese unit has come on from the edge of the board, so that's going to probably see the end of those Marines. These ones in the buildings took a shot over at the ones in the wood, put a pin on, which was okay. Officer passed his leadership test and advanced up. Dog teams have moved over onto this side to try and get around to make sure they can get into that sector. So yeah, lots of movements going on, and we'll see how the luck of the dice comes out and see if we can either take out the Horo with the engineers and the flamethrower, or if we can get that little team. But there is the officer team of the Japanese there and the anti-tank man on that wood. So we'll see how we do as we go into turn 4. Turn 4, and the US Marines are a little bit up on this turn around. The Sherman tank was at long range and firing at cover, so we advanced him up because it was still a 5 no matter what he did. And fortunately I got a 5 on the Horo. Managed to get 8 for penetration, so beat the armour by 1 and blew it up with a 4, so that was quite good. The unit over here went down again just because the mortar was firing at them. The engineer squad took a risk to jump up and try and flamethrower the Japanese officer, but he survived and ran off, and then the little Japanese tankers run up to try and kill the veterans in the hard cover, and only managed to put 1 pin on and not kill anyone, which was quite surprising with the HMG and the MMG. The troops at the front have all moved up. I should really have put that squad on ambush, but I advanced them up to try and kill the little anti-tank man, and they've paid the penalty. And as you saw within it, I'll cut into it with regards to how they fared with the result of the shooting. The rest of the US Marines trying to get them to run across. I did put a pin on the tank with the HMG from the Jeep, but everyone else is trying to run to get into that sector. Whilst over here, the Japanese are massing on this flank, and I put the Marine unit down, and that did save them. They got another pin, but they are still alive. But I can't guarantee that they're going to be alive after the next turn when those Japanese charge them. This unit I put down because the heavy mortar had focused on them, and although it needed a 6, I wasn't that keen on having them killed, so I put them into down, which was probably a bad move because that allowed Andy to bring them up into the centre. But we're moving into turn 5, so 1 Horo down, and the Sherman should be fairly okay over on that side. He's pretty safe from the anti-tank men. So, into turn 5, and the Japanese have advanced out of the wood and taken out the US Marine squad. The other unit have run up unopposed because, again, the heavy mortar is focusing on them, so I put them into down just to try and keep them alive. The little tank has got recce, so moved away from the flamethrower and survived. Officer and anti-tank man has run over to try and get into the sector. I've moved up with the heavy machine gun on the Jeep and the 3 bars in this unit. We took out the Japanese squad that was in the middle, so that was quite a useful little turn. Moved the truck up to try and get some cover from the ruins. Officers have moved up, and the dog teams have moved up. Moved the Sherman up and made the unit there go down. and then that allowed me to then quickly run my mortar team to get it across and hopefully into this sector to score some points. So going into turn 6, it's going to be a points add up to see what we do. So into turn 6, and yeah, interesting things. I think the US may have it, because I'm looking at this is going to be in the Japanese sector. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units in Andy's sector, which would give me 14 points. And I've got this unit over here, which would take it into 15. Very little killed in that turn. I did get a hit on this unit here, and did take out 3 of them, but they did pass their leadership test. And they they don't need to take a leadership test because they have fanatics rule, so they're still okay. So they are still viable, and we'll look at that in a minute. So over here, the little tankette came out and took a shot but missed, which was quite lucky. Over here, you've got the anti-tank men and the officers run across into scoring positions, and then you've got the unit here did a charge and wipe out the Marines. So Andy's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units over here, giving him 10 points. And the little tank over there gives him 11. So, yeah, interesting. So we're going to have a roll to see whether we're going to turn 7 and whether that will make any difference. Andy, do you want to roll it? So on a 1, 2, 3, it finishes. 6. Turn 7, do you think we're going to get one in? We'll try and get one in. So, into turn 7. Turn 7, first ice house to the Japanese. They are charging the Sherman, as they will, because they are fanatic Japanese. They don't need to take a leadership test, and they don't take any tank fear. Because of the fanatics rule, the Japanese Banzai rule, that's it. And he needs 3s. 4s, even. And he scored 1. Oh.
No.
So 1 plus 6 is not going to do it.
No.
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 And he needed at least 4 hits. No?
Could have just about got away with 3.
Could have got away with 3, wouldn't you? Because it's armour 9 on the front.
Yeah.
And he just needed a 9 to glance it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sadly for Andy, he couldn't penetrate it anyway because he hasn't got anti-tank grenades. So that was a do or die for him.
Bounce off now,
so you bounce off, yeah. So a good try, but no cigar.
So you'll.
Yep. So poor old Andy didn't manage to get that one. So we've added up the points, which made it was really close. It was 18 points to the USMC, playing 15 for the Japanese. So you need to have 2 clear points to win. So I just won by 1 unit because 1 point because Andy had killed 4 of mine and I'd only killed 3 of his. So really interesting how it ran out. So yeah, good game, Andy. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
that was a bit of a fun one there. So yeah, good to get Japanese on the table after so long.
Yeah, first time out ever. So
yeah, first time out ever. So yeah, and my Marines haven't been out for at least onto the table for a long time either. Yeah, sad really. Well, that was a well fought, fun game. Yeah. I thought I was going to struggle a little bit against the Japanese if they had rushed forward, but I think probably Andy was a little bit hesitant with them and spread them a bit wide. But that's the problem with sectors, because you're trying to get into each other's side to do the big scoring, but you can't afford to let your troops die. And it was really close at the end when we were counting up the numbers of dead units. So it was really close. It could have gone either way, and certainly that last charge out of the Japanese against the Sherman could well have swayed it. Yeah, that was very close. If he had taken that out, then I wouldn't have got the win, because as it was, I was only 1 unit ahead of the requirement to win. So yeah, a good game. I do like the Marines, but don't get them out very often, just because of all the other armies that we have and all the other games that we play. So yeah, another Bolt Action Army game under the belt. Hope you enjoyed it. And again, if you haven't subscribed, please do so, and hit the notification button so that you get to know when the next video is up. Been a bit few and far between in the last couple of weeks. Different things, just getting back to life after my daughter's wedding. Also, it's been pretty busy trying to sort things out at home. But hopefully we'll start getting some more video content up and running. I've got a sort of a review of Paint and Glue's 3D printed vehicles, World War II, and I've also got a video to work on to put up my 6mm Napoleonic project, and I've also got some bits and pieces from a company called Iron Gate Scenery. Have a check out on the website. They do 28mm table scatter, and it's really nice. Anyway, I'll try and do a video on that as well. So a couple of things in the pipeline. Hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, the Ko-fi is still going on, trying to upgrade my old iPad. If you do get an opportunity, please lob us a coffee. Anyway, until the next time, take care.